This is going to be my third update for today, this Saturday, coming to you from Athens, Greece. And we got a lot of news topics to talk about. These are related to what's going on in Ukraine and with Russia. Some of it has to do with what's going on the ground, and some of it has to do with this economic war of attrition that is being waged right now. And so, let's see, which story should I start with? Let's talk about the chemical equipment, chemical and bio equipment that the U.S. has confirmed they have sent to Ukraine. And this is like protection against an impending chemical or bio attack. This has been confirmed by Jen Psaki, who, by the way, has said that she is... Let's go up this way. She said that she is leaving the White House and she will be going to MSNBC as a commentator. But anyway, in one of her final statements, I guess these are her final statements, she has confirmed that the U.S. is anticipating a false flag to happen. And because of the anticipation of some sort of chemical or bio false flag, they have been providing Ukraine with all kinds of chemical and bio protection against this impending false flag. Well, false flag, they say an attack. I say false flag, they say a chemical attack is coming no matter what. I'm saying false flag because I think it's going to be a false flag. But I can't figure out why Russia would want to do anything like the such that the collective West is saying they're going to do, given the fact that they are winning on the ground and winning big. But anyway, this is what Psaki said. This is what she has confirmed as well. So it looks like they are preparing the Ukraine military for what they say will be a chemical or bio incident in Ukraine. I think it's coming. I hope I'm wrong. God, I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's not coming. But I think it's coming because we have this big battle in the cauldron, in the Donbass cauldron, that is going to be taking place this week. It's going to be big. It's going to most likely signify the end of this 60 to 80,000 NAZI Azov military group, military battalion, whatever you want to call them. 60,000 is much bigger than a battalion, but these forces that are stuck in this cauldron, in this encirclement in the east of Ukraine, well, I've hit a dead end, guys. Well, we're going to have a big fight taking place. Let's see if I can go around. Yeah. All right. Okay, let's go up. So yeah, you're gonna have this big fight taking place, which is gonna be, I think, a decisive battle, especially for the East. If Russia does manage to win this, which I anticipate they will win, then 60 to 80,000 of the best fighting force of the Ukraine military will be done, and all of the East will have fallen. For the most part, will have fallen into the hands of the Russian Federation. So I think if it's going to happen anytime, it's going to happen, say, this week. I hope I'm wrong, and I don't want to make predictions, but I don't know, maybe this is another sign coming out from Psaki and the Biden White House that this chemical bio attack and what many consider to be an impending false flag is on its way. What else do I want to talk about? There was a story about the Ukraine government, the Ukraine military, saying that their, what do they call them? Their international legion, all the international fighters that pour into Ukraine, they call them like their international legion. There was a story that their international legion was not accepting any more foreign fighters because they're not trained, they screw up all the time, but more importantly, because they just don't have weapons and supplies, period. They're out of supplies, they're out of weapons. So any of these foreign fighters that want to jump into this conflict coming in from the collective West, like the British soldiers or just everyday British people that Liz Truss was telling to go to Ukraine and fight. The UK foreign minister was urging citizens in the Ukraine, in the UK, go to Ukraine, fight. I mean, what an irresponsible, dumb statement from Liz Truss. Very dumb, very reckless, very evil statement from Liz Truss. But she was encouraging UK citizens to enter the conflict. Well, even the Ukraine government now, the Ukraine military is saying, don't come because we don't have anything to give you. There's nothing that we can give you that you'll be able to fight with. So I thought that was an interesting story, and it points to the fact that they don't have any more supplies, that Russia has completed, or has done a good job, I don't want to say completed, has done a good job in the first phase of operations with regard to the demilitarization side of things. They took out a big gas depot the other day in near Dnipro, which was owned by Kolomoisky's company. Kolomoisky was the original puppeteer of Zelensky, a billionaire oligarch who concocted the entire Zelensky servant of the people plan and got Zelensky into power. Well, his gas depot, which is not only for military purposes, actually I think it's even for just civilian purposes to refill, your tank, your car. The Russians took that out, from what I understand. I mean, they just took it out, which means the gloves are off. The gloves are off. I think that the Russian military is just going to go harder and harder into this. They're just going to go harder and harder at the Ukraine military, especially with this impending battle that's about to take place in the Donbass. We have two stories, one for Germany and one for the U.S. as well, with providing weapons to Ukraine, since we're talking about weapons and the fact that this international legion, they don't have any small arms to give any foreign fighters. What you do have is you have the let me stop here for a sec. You do have the U.S. Working to procure tanks. They're working to procure Soviet tanks so that they can send them to Ukraine. And they want to send these tanks to Ukraine because from the U.S. side of things, if they can procure these Soviet tanks, then they feel that the Ukraine military will be able to use them right away because they've trained with these tanks. At least that's how they're seeing it. They're familiar with these Soviet tanks. They've trained with these Soviet tanks, so they don't have anything to learn. There's no learning curve. So they're actively trying to find Soviet tanks and send them to Ukraine. And I still don't understand. Okay, those tanks. Oh, and by the way, Germany is doing the same. They're actually going to be working with a Czech company, a Czech-based company, to send Soviet armored vehicles to Ukraine. This is Germany. But I'm curious. Okay, so they're going to find all these Soviet weapons, these Soviet-made weapons, and they're going to send them to Poland, I imagine. And then from Poland, they're going to cross the border into Ukraine. But the Russians are going to spot this right away, and they're just going to destroy these weapons. So what's the use? I mean, I can see small arms. I understand small arms. Those you can smuggle in to Ukraine. Not that they're going to do anything, not that they're going to change the dynamics of the war. If anything, they're just going to cause chaos all around Europe. But at least you can smuggle those into the theater of conflict. But these tanks and armored vehicles, how are you going to get those through? Unless the goal is not to get those through, unless the goal is to either have them, I don't want to say hit the black market. Is it possible for those to hit the black market? But I would say that more than likely it's just about getting those weapons into the west of Ukraine. Maybe the plan is, we're going to militarize as much of the west as possible, or militarize the border for an impending move on the west as much as we can. So while Russia is preoccupied with the east and the south, southeast, southwest of Ukraine, we're going to plan our move on the west, or at least make it so that the west has so much firepower that Russia won't even dare to make a move on the west. Maybe that's how they see it. Or that if Russia doesn't decide to make a move on the west, it's going to be one hell of a fight So anyway, those are two interesting stories. The really big story, I think this may be the big story, was the video of Zelensky that he gave the other day, and once again in front of a green screen. Let me play a little snapshot of that video. So this was a very slick, highly produced video, but once again in front of that green screen, where Zelensky says that two military generals, have been fired, and he accused them of being traitors. Check out the segment, and I'll get right back to you.
Зараз у мене немає часу займатися усіма зрадниками, але поступово всі вони покарання отримують, тому вже більше не генерал, екс-начальник Головного управління внутрішньої безпеки Служби безпеки України Наумов Андрій Олегович та екс-начальник УСБУ в Херсонській області Криворучка Сергій Олександрович. Ті військовослужбовці вищого офіцерського складу, яким щось завадило визначитися, де їх батьківщина, які порушують військову присягу, дану на вірність українському народові щодо захисту.
So that was Zelensky, and he's basically saying that these two generals are traitors. And he doesn't really get into specifics as to what they did, so we can make a lot of assumptions. But the interesting thing about these two generals, what we do know is that these two guys were from an intelligence background. One of them was inside the Ministry of Interior, and he was with like the intelligence services with the Ministry of the Interior. And the other general was an SBU guy in Kherson. And so somehow, some way, the Ukraine military found out that these guys were up to something, and they've branded them traitors. And I don't know what happens next. I don't know if they have them in custody, or if something, or if they don't have them in custody, or what's happened. But I'll try to find out. Or if someone knows in the comments, throw that down in the comments. What happened to these guys, if anything? But why? Why did Zelensky come out with these statements? And what did these guys do? Well, I would say I actually read a very good thread that Gonzalo had on his Telegram, and he went through a lot of reasons. I'll put a link to that. I'll try to find a link for that specific thread and put it down below as to what these two generals did and why they're being branded as traitors. And his conclusion, I have to agree with his conclusion. I think that these two guys, if you go through everything that could warrant such an accusation, you come to one logical conclusion, that these two generals either did not want to execute the battle plans, which are going to lead to Ukraine, to a large portion of Ukraine's army in the east, to certain annihilation, and maybe they didn't want to agree with it. Maybe they were voicing their protest against these battle plans and saying, look, we can't win, this is not good, we need to figure out something else, I can't go through with this. Or these generals perhaps were a voice of sanity, telling the regime, the Zelensky regime, to surrender, or to try to find a compromised, more workable peace. In other words, to recognize Crimea, to recognize Donbass and Lugansk, to move towards Russia's demands. I think that is probably the most likely scenario as to why they've been branded traitors, these guys. Maybe because they were intelligence guys. They had some, maybe they were getting some information from Russian intelligence. Maybe they had some connection to Russian intelligence. Maybe they were doing something there. Maybe the guy in Kherson was doing something there. We don't know. So all of this is speculation. But I think that these generals were probably trying to push Zelensky towards some sort of compromise or peace, a surrender, or at the very least, to not send, to not push forward with this terrible battle that's about to take place in the Donbass, a battle which will inevitably lead to the death of so many young men. Anyway, who knows? Just speculation, but a fascinating story. Let's do two really quick stories from the economic side of things, the economic war. The first story that I want to talk about is the fact that, and I got to remember these stories, the fact that Shell in the UK came out with an announcement, and they said that they will not be able, most likely, they will not be able to buy Russian gas and Russian energy for this month because the UK has placed sanctions on Gazprom Bank. And I believe the UK had like the strongest sanctions against the Russian energy companies and the banks. I think they went above and beyond and actually sanctioned Gazprom Bank and Sberbank, where the EU didn't, so that the EU can allow the payments of gas. The UK went a step further and they actually went through with sanctioning Gazprom Bank. But either way, Shell said, look, because of the sanctions, we will not be able to buy Russian gas or Russian oil or anything for that matter because of the sanctions against Gazprom Bank. As you know, the new policy, the gas for rubles policy, clearly states that companies that are going to be purchasing Russian energy have to have an account at Gazprom Bank, both an account in foreign currency as well as an account in rubles. So that was a big story. Of course, Peskov came out with some statements as well, and he said that the UK is they wanted to take a hard line with Russia, and here are the outcomes. And this is coming at a time when Alexander has stated the electricity, the energy bills in the UK are skyrocketing, and it's really crippling society. And we're just at the beginning. So this is a very telling announcement, a very telling story with regards to Shell. And the final news topic. Gosh, we covered a lot, haven't we? The final news story has to do with Germany. And there are rumors, or at least there was an interview in a German publication. I forgot which one. It begins with an A. Hildes something. Anyway, someone in Germany, let me know which publication it was. Anyway, they came out with an interview, and I think they were interviewing Olaf Scholz, the chancellor. And they said that the German government is actually considering nationalizing the German subsidiaries, the German branches of Gazprom and Rosneft, the two Russian companies. So they're looking to nationalize those operations, those assets of those subsidiaries in Germany, and to take them over and to seize their assets. The German side of things is saying they need to nationalize it because of this energy crisis. They need to nationalize it because of this energy crisis and this energy crunch. And most likely, Rosneft and Gazprom Bank in Germany will go bankrupt. German banks don't want to work with them because of the risks. And so these subsidiaries are going to run out of cash. They're going to go bankrupt, and it's going to lead to all kinds of chaos in Germany. So Olaf Scholz said they have to nationalize Gazprom and Rosneft. Once again, the German branches, the German subsidiaries, they're going to nationalize it. Peskov, the Kremlin spokesperson, came out with a statement and said, don't you dare. Don't you dare. He pretty much just said this is outright thievery. This is thievery. He said these guys are thugs and they're thieves. And after what they did with our reserves, now they're going to take our assets in Germany and nationalize them and steal our assets. Peskov's statements were very, very strong. I mean, he really laid into Germany. And so if they nationalize Gazprom and Rosneft, the German subsidiaries in Germany, oh boy, once again, gloves are coming off. I mean, the relationship between Russia and Germany is just tanking to the point of outright, I don't know. I don't even know. I'm not even going to say. I'm not even going to pretend that I know where this is all going to lead to. But boy, are things really just spiraling out of control, and things are escalating. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. We covered a lot of topics, and I want to get these videos up, get this video up to everybody, and let's see where all of this goes. Next week is going to be a big news week. I just have a feeling that it's going to be big. All right, the Duran.locals.com, coming to you from the center of Athens. Take care.